In this episode, we're going to be talking about how to get money to finance a house, and more specifically, how to get money from private lenders. My name is Mitch Stephen, and I have over $26 million in private money that is out on the streets today as we speak, and I have a payment coming up on the 1st. So I'm going to teach you a little bit about how I learned to raise that level of money. In this episode, we're going to challenge you to improve your elevator pitch, and we're going to teach you how to recognize private lenders and what they are interested in. And last but not least, you're going to learn why you are probably the least important part of the equation. It's not about you. It's about something else. So what is an elevator pitch? An elevator pitch is something you use to get out your message. It should be short. It should be concise. It should be to the point. And it should roll off your tongue just like that. And it should present to the listener, do I want what this person has to offer? And it should all be done in a very succinct manner. So I'm often asked, what is your elevator pitch? To which I have to ask, for which business? For what need? For what company? Because I have a lot of different elevator pitches. But when I'm talking to people about private money, or I'm in that mode to start collecting or trying to raise private money from private lenders, my elevator pitch goes a little something like this. Hi, my name is Mitch Stephen, and I help average people achieve above average rates of return on their idle money. And I use very, very valuable Texas real estate as overwhelming collateral. Now you see, right there, I got right to the point. I can say this literally on an elevator between floor 1 and floor 2, and it just comes natural to me. I've said it a million times. Now, while you're welcome to copy my pitch, that's fine. I don't care. Use it if you want. If it works for you, take it. But maybe you need to personalize it a little bit to fit you, to suit the way that you speak, the way you talk, so it rolls off your tongue easy. When I'm in the private money finding mode, I make a promise to myself and a commitment that I'm going to give my elevator pitch to at least one person a day. Sometimes I get to the end of the day and I realize I haven't made my elevator pitch. So true to my commitment, I'll pull over to the bus stop or to the homeless person under the bridge. I'll get out of my car and I'll run over and I'll say my elevator pitch, to which they will just look at me with this stymied look on their face, and I'll go back to my car and say, I got my one today. I got my one. So giving that pitch is like exercising a muscle. It's something you need to do every day, that you get accustomed to, and that you get used to just doing it at least once a day all the time. And that's why I make myself get out of the car and talk to some random people that I really know probably don't have anything to offer me, but I've got to get in my one pitch a day. And that's how I do it. So what are private lenders interested in? I can tell you one thing, they're interested in making more than 1 or less than 1% in a bank account that they're being offered today, right now. They're interested in maybe putting their money someplace where they don't have to wake up every single morning and look at a ticker tape on the news to see how much they're worth. They're tired of gambling. They just want a decent rate with a decent rate of return and a decent piece of collateral that will let them sleep at night. Your target prospect likes the idea of having tangible real estate as collateral. And above all else, your target prospect is probably more than ready to take over responsibility for their own financial future and quit leaving their investments to people who don't even know their name. So how do you identify these people that you're going to approach as being one of your private lenders? Obviously, they're going to have some kind of savings account or some kind of money to invest, but don't judge books by the cover. Let me tell you a story about a private lender that I stumbled into one day. You see, I had this UPS driver that always showed up at my building. I owned the building. I was on the 3rd floor. Every day this guy would come in and deliver stuff to our office. And then one day I was at a grocery store down the street, quite a ways from my office. And I saw the UPS guy getting out of this old beat up car. So as he got out of this car and started to walk towards the store, I was getting out of mine, and we kind of merged like right together, and we were walking towards the store, and I said, hey, how's it going? And he said hi, and I said, so, I took note of his car. His car was pretty bad. It was pretty beat up. It was pretty old. I asked him, how long you been with UPS? And he said 26 years. Now, anybody else would have just carried on that conversation. 26 years, that's a long time. Way to go. When do you retire? You know what my ears heard? My ears heard 401k for 26 years. This company matches their investors. So for every dollar this guy put in over 26 years, UPS probably matched him. I don't know if the match is 25% or 30% or 50%, but I know this is a long time, 26 years, and this guy's getting matched. So what did I say? I asked him, wow, UPS is a great company to work for. And I think if you've been with them like 26 years, don't they have a great retirement plan or something? It's called a matching something. I forget, some kind of matching plan. He said, yeah, they got a 401k and they'll match with it. I said, yeah, that. I said, so have you been taking advantage of that? I mean, have you put in as much as you can? Man, if I had people that match me, I'd put in as much as I could. Have you been taking advantage of that? He said, yes, I have. I've always put in the maximum. And then I knew I was talking to the right guy. I wasn't nearly going to ask him what he was worth or what the account was worth, but I was very curious. And I said, how's it been going? Because I've learned if you can just get people to talk, they'll open up. I said, so how's it been going? Are you getting close to retiring, or is it getting to be where you can retire now with that 401k? And he said, well, it used to be worth 1.8 million, but now it's only worth like 800,000 because in the last stock market crash, I got cut in half. He just volunteered that to me. And so I told him, there's a way whenever you can get your hands on that 401k or when you retire, you don't have to live like that. You don't have to live by that ticker tape. And you might be surprised to know that this guy, we had a conversation about private lending and it went very well. So the moral of the story there is don't judge a book by the cover, because you never know what people have or where they have it. This guy, he wasn't 59 and a half yet. And that's what age you have to be for your retirement funds to mature so that you can get to them. He still had 2 or 3 or 4 years to go. And so while he might have been driving a beat up old car, he was worth a substantial amount of money. It's just going to take him a few more years till he could get to it. And that's one of the things I want you to realize about private lenders is you just don't know. If you've ever read a book called The Millionaire Next Door, most of the millionaires that are in your circle, you'll never know that they were millionaires. You'll never recognize them. They're just average people that are worth a small fortune. And they never talk about it. They never say anything about it. They don't wear fancy watches and they don't drive Lambos. They're just very secure, very well-to-do people, and they're quietly going about their life. The other thing I've noticed is a lot of the people that go into private lending with me and they decide to let me borrow their money or to lend their money to me is they have a basic understanding of real estate. They know what a first lien's worth. They know that they're either going to get paid or they're going to get this property, and they're not deathly afraid of getting a property. Now, make no mistake. Private lenders are doctors, they're lawyers, they're retired, they're whatever they are. The last thing they want is to be in the house business, because most of them, or 99.9% of the people that loan me money, have never been in the house business and don't want to be in the house business. But they are smart enough to understand they're either going to get paid as agreed or they're going to get a very valuable piece of real estate as collateral. And either way, they're going to be fine. In fact, the really savvy ones are quick to figure out. The worst thing that's going to happen to them is that they're going to get paid as agreed. Because if they ever get my real estate, they're going to bump up in the net worth department right away. So before I go into the next little segment, which is about why you're the least important part of the whole scenario, I want you to make sure you hit that like button if you like what we've been talking about. And if you know somebody that might benefit from this conversation, please hit the share button and let's get them out there looking and following along as well. The reason why you are the least important factor in the decision for your lender to loan you money is because it's not about you. It's about the position that the lender is in if they loan. Take you out of the situation. If you're only looking for $50,000 on a house that's worth $150,000, this should be an easy loan to get because any lender understands. I'm putting up $50,000 in a loan. I'm supposed to get paid back at X% over X amount of years. But if I don't, I get this perfectly good $150,000 piece of collateral instead, which, by the way, is worth a lot more than the $50,000 being repaid back to me at this minimal interest rate. So, never forget, it's about the deal. It's the deal that brings the money. It doesn't matter about your credit. It doesn't matter if you can't speak the language that well, if you haven't been in the business that long, you don't have a lot of experience, you filed bankruptcy 2 years ago. It really doesn't matter. Because the lender's just saying, I'm either going to get paid from this guy or what am I going to get? If the what am I going to get is good enough, then it doesn't matter anything about you. It matters about the deal. Now, you would go a long ways to help your cause if you would paint a very nice and pretty and easy picture for your lender to see why you say this house is worth $150,000. Get all the comps, put them out there for him. Take pictures, show him the sales, show him everything. Say, look, all these houses in the neighborhood, they're right down the street. This one sold for X, this one sold for Y. You know, the average price per square foot in this neighborhood, based on these 15 sales that have happened within the last 6 months, is this much per square foot. Now, my house is this many square feet. If you take the average and put it in, this house is clearly worth even more than I'm telling you it's worth. So help yourself by painting a very clear and concise picture of how you're arriving at the values for that collateral that you're posting up for them to lend against. Imagine how it could help you if you understood about retirement accounts and self-directed 401ks and IRAs. Imagine if you understood at least more than the average person about tax-deferred retirement accounts or tax-free retirement accounts. You think that would help you talk to people about lending you their money, especially if they had that money in those accounts? Or if they didn't have those monies in those accounts, if you could show them how to transfer their money over into accounts that would put their savings tax-free or tax-deferred. I became an expert in self-directed IRAs and 401ks and educational savings accounts and health savings accounts because it only made sense. That's where the money was. There's billions and billions and billions of dollars in these self-directed savings accounts and in non-self-directed savings accounts that is untapped. And if you can teach people how to move into a better position and then get a better rate of return by dealing with you, then you can move millions into your business at a reasonable rate, at a reasonable term. And that's what I've done. That's why I have $26 million in private lenders. So to get a free ebook, a digital ebook from taxfreefuture.com, just click on the link below. It also will lead you to 37 little video vignettes that'll blow your mind as to what you can do in the tax-free or tax-deferred arena. And you knowing it is going to help you teach it to others. And others are going to admire your knowledge and feel safe to invest with you. So check out the ebook. Click on the link right below.